Hello, my name's Tanya. I've been in therapy for social anxiety disorder for about 3 months. It'll be 3 months tomorrow. And this is like another attempt to make a video because I make things too long, so it turned into like 20 minutes last time I tried, so I better be careful and make it short. But today I really challenged myself. I mean, today as in basically yesterday. I decided for the first time ever that I'm actually going to challenge myself. And I'm going to do things that make me uncomfortable. And this was really hard for me to decide to do because, I mean, that's the main thing that keeps anyone from getting over social anxiety is that, you can't stand to even put yourself in the situation anymore. I mean, you can't prove that it's going to be okay to yourself when you're never in the uncomfortable situation, which sucks ass because I don't like having to be uncomfortable, and no one does, and that's why, it's such an awful thing to have. But, it's unfortunately so much of that, and, the daily life exposure of just being around people at school or whatever you do isn't enough, and it's unfortunate that it's not enough. Because a lot of people with anxiety, they survive school, I mean, at least as far as I know, and it's miserable, but they survive it and they have to go, but it doesn't actually help any. It doesn't help being around people because they get used to that, but then it doesn't help anything else. It doesn't make you feel any more comfortable. You're still bombarded with all the anxieties of negative possibilities, situations that could happen, and you get used to avoiding the things that make you really uncomfortable, or just like you can't stand it so you don't. And it's probably different for people who have panic attacks, because I've never have, which is very fortunate, and I'm thankful because my family has like some people who have panic attacks, so, or at least in the history of things they have. So I'm so thankful that I don't get them, because I can't even imagine how awful it would be to basically have anxiety, social anxiety, and just be like freaking out in public and then have to deal with the guilt of the embarrassment of that. Just, I can't even imagine. So to those of you who have done that and experienced that, I am so sorry, and that's really awful. But it's, and even people who don't have panic attacks, it's hard for everyone. But today I really wanted to challenge myself, and I don't usually want to challenge myself, and I hate challenging myself because you convince yourself after a certain amount of time that it's easier to live life and just pretend like you're happy with not doing the things you want to do. And you pretend like, just that you don't have to be yourself. You can survive just being comfortable in your anxiety, and you just are like, oh, it's not worth it to put myself through the suffering to do blank, because I don't really want to do blank, but I kind of want to do it, and it's horrible having anxiety, but I'm not willing to try. And that's the problem, is, like, who wants to actually do those things? But you get so convinced that there's no way you can change, and there's no way it could get any easier, so it's like, why the hell would I want to make myself uncomfortable all the time for the guise of doing things I sort of want to do? But I realized, like, I've been taking time off of school, like, it's summer right now, obviously, but, I decided before I go to university, I've got my AA degree, that I'm going to think and take therapy and just chill for a second, and my husband's helping me out, obviously, and, I decided just, no, I'm not gonna throw myself into anything until I figure out what the heck I'm gonna do with this, and how I'm going to survive the rest of my life, and what I want with myself, and not get swept away by expectations, and so on. So I took this time to think, and thinking made me realize that I'm not happy with this. I am not happy at all with this. I pretend like, I think to myself, yeah, it's comfortable, but just, I'm not being myself, and I hate not being myself. And who does like not being themselves? If you do, I think you still are in denial, but just The trouble is myself is something that is, well, it's myself. It's something I can't get rid of. And this is a terrible example, but this is what popped into my head. Just, it's like, you know, like gay rights and gay people and things. It's just how awful it is to try and pretend you're someone you're not, like to be in the closet about anything like that or something else. Just how terrible it feels to, you can kind of live your life and you can survive and you can pretend everything is fine when you're just pretending to be someone else. But then there will be times when you're on your own or you're alone for a day and you're just thinking and you're not doing anything and you're like, oh my god, this is awful and I don't like this, you know. And so that feeling really, you know, during this break I just started feeling that like all the time and I'm like, no, I don't like this. So who I am, like who am I? I am creative. My creativity is not really, I'm not talented in aspects of art or anything. I enjoy trying to be, but my creativity is clothes and dressing up, and it's basically almost like a fake social thing. Like I'm kind of indulging in social things without actually indulging in them. And my passion has always been just enjoying every life, being vibrant, wearing things I love, being like fantasy books or just, you know, just making life more interesting and appearing interesting and characters and just like every day I like to think of it as, I just think life is so boring that why would you not want to be vibrant all the time? So to my anxiety asks me to not be that, and it says you need to be invisible so that you can survive and so that you can feel comfortable. And so I indulged it, and as I got older, my creativity went away, and I stopped dressing up, and I stopped having fun, and I didn't have much fun back then, but I still had that at least. So, you know, I don't, like, I'm funny, and I like to, well, my mindset is, wouldn't it be lovely if I was invisible so I could do whatever I want? But, you know, I think to myself, well, why the hell can't I do that? Why should I be living caring what other people think? And why does it even matter what other people think? Who gives a shit? Like, if you're wearing a t-shirt or if you're wearing a ball gown, you know, why would that ever matter? It doesn't affect anyone, it doesn't make anyone unhappy necessarily, there's no reason. We just create this culture and we create these routines that become so normal that we're like, okay, you know, this is what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm just like, screw that. So I hate it, and just I can't stand that. So I decided today that I would challenge myself to be myself. And I pulled it off somehow. And I want to encourage anyone else who has anxiety that it is possible, and I'm finding this out finally, but I'm not like extremely hopeful kind of person, and I'm not really like, oh my god, my life has just changed, because that's not true. I am basically realizing that there's wiggle room for this changing, and it definitely can change. I don't know how fast or like how well, but for everyone with anxiety, there is room for it to get better, and it just takes a hell of a lot of motivation and maybe some therapy if you can afford to do so. I think that's a very valuable thing. I've been adamant to avoid medication because it never worked for me, and I don't want to rely on anything that won't last, that I have to pay money for to basically be comfortable. But it can be valuable for some people. But just there is hope for it, and it just takes really wanting it, and you, after a while, you want it so badly that you just don't even give a crap, and you're just like totally, you know, I'm just so tired of this, and I'm so tired of not being myself, and just eventually that motivation gets strong enough that you can actually start breaking through and breaking all those things that you have convinced yourself are so important that you can't humiliate yourself and you can't put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. And it's not fun, and it's terribly scary, but and I still can't do all of it. Like, I still can't see my friends because I can't stand to do so, but at least not very often. And so there are certain limitations, but it's progress, slowly but surely progress. So in my next video I'll tell you exactly what the heck I did and how it went.